When I get overwhelmed and I just can't handle what life is throwing at me, I turn to one of my tried and true techniques in my survival kit. Sometimes it's a matter of realizing that my thoughts just aren't quite accurate, and I'm telling myself a story about the way life is that isn't true. I've talked about these stories that I tell myself before, and I've talked about the various ways that I'm able to reframe these stories so that I can get myself into a better headspace. But that idea of reframing my stories and what I'm telling myself deals really with the present. And today I'd like to talk to you about how you can use the past to help yourself now. One of the other tools I have in my survival kit is a phrase, "You've gotten through everything else life has thrown at you, so you'll get through this thing too." And the reason I like this technique is it's because it's 100% true. You have gotten through everything else life has thrown at you. How do I know this? Well, you're here now. You're watching this video. If you hadn't gotten through everything else life had thrown at you, you'd be 6 feet underground. For me, I think about the various crazy things that I've done in my life. I remember when I was 17, I was a junior forest ranger up in the north, and we were playing volleyball on the beach. I went down, ready to get the ball, and my foot hit a broken beer bottle and sliced open. Ooh, that was really painful, and I worried. I worried about whether I was going to get treatment for it. We were hours away from the nearest hospital. I wondered whether I was going to have a permanent injury and not be able to walk again. I remember years later, I bought a crack house that I thought I could renovate and make profit at as a rental property. Oh my gosh, I was so worried about that, and I was going to run into financial ruin after that. And then most recently, I worried about whether I was going to die. We were down in Cartagena in Colombia. We walked around in the noonday sun and it got hotter and hotter and hotter. And I didn't realize what was happening, and I got heat stroke. I was quite sick. But I got through all of those challenges. I got through all of those challenges, and I'm now able to look back on them and use them as a helpful technique for myself now. If I can get through that, surely I can get through what is challenging me now. I like this technique as well because everyone can use it. Everyone has had an experience in the past that they can draw upon and look back and say, well, gee, if I got through that, I can surely get through this. I also like the technique because it builds upon itself. The more bad experiences you have, the more you realize you can get through bad experiences. The more bad experiences you have, the more you realize how you can get through them. And in getting through them, you realize, well, that wasn't the end of the world after all. I can survive and thrive despite these challenges. Now, when I look back on my challenges, I realize, yeah, that cut to my foot, it did hurt. It did leave a scar. It sometimes still hurts me, but it wasn't the end of the world. We were able to find a hospital. We were able to get it stitched up, and I survived. That crack house? Well, I was able to turn it into a really quite nice looking little property and ended up making quite a bit of money off of it. I was really pleased. And the heat stroke? Thankfully, I was able to get help. I didn't die. Obviously, I am still here. And I look back on that and realize that if I can get through something as potentially life-altering as heat stroke, I can get through anything else life has to throw at me. So, use your past. It's your past. It's your history. You're the only one who has gone through those experiences, and you've gotten through them. Use that to realize that you're going to get through what you're challenged with right now. Say to yourself, if I can get through everything else that life has thrown at me so far, surely I'll get through this little challenge too. Have a good day, and be well.